great to be here this whole week. I hear Ed Burns from Alex Cross is going to be here live.
I'm so excited about that.
Yep.
And Blair Butler talks shop with Bill Paxton at New York Comic-Con.
Before we get into all that,
what?
I feel like the last time I was here, we started off a little rough.
We did?
I thought you were kind of tough on me.
What are you talking about? Tough on you?
You were a bit of a bee.
What does that mean? I was a bit of a bee?
You were a bitch to me.
He said it!
And I don't want to be mean or anything. I just want to, let's just bury everything that happened.
I was a bit of a bitch to you.
You were?
I did ask who the hell you were.
Exactly, and I thought, so let's just...
It was all in good fun, okay?
Let's just dump it, and let's just have a great week. Are you willing just to, like, drop it all? And
well, what does that require?
it requires a hug. And a good one. And I may hold on tight. I may hold on tight.
Okay, let's hug it out.
Let's hug it out. Here we go. Come on, here it is. Oh.
Are we done?
I thought we were
Okay.
It's way too long.
All right. Time now to run down the top things on the web.
We're going around the net, everybody.
You missed
What's up
it,
first?
didn't you?
What? I missed it. I still can't clap with everyone else. I have a hard time.
Okay.
What's up first? What do we have up
No
first?
rhythm. Well, it has been really, really nice outside lately, but Fox 13 meteorologist Dan Pope is telling us that we are in for some really stiff weather.
Stiff.
It was hot. Now, we have John. Now, this is a tropical storm, and you say, Dan, why are you showing me this? Because John's going to move north. The moisture from John left over, the spin, the storm itself will turn into a depression. Nothing really to worry about as far as wind goes, but watch where the precipitation will go. Some of it will head up towards the west.
You see, the reason that is funny is because it looks like a giant penis. That's why.
I'm actually a big fan of giant penis.
What? Really?
Yeah, that's why I love the WNBA.
You're going to get some angry notes for that.
Yeah, they're not going to like that one.
And now, a boy and his father bonding over athletic activity. What could possibly go wrong?
To be fair, I think the dad was just preparing his son for the realities of looking for a job in post-recession America.
Oh, that's what he was doing.
You know, in Europe, we'd be celebrating the fact that this kid is a great goalie, and in the United States, we're making fun of him for playing soccer.
Very true. And finally, Michael, do you know how they make Edie's ice cream so tasty?
I assume that it had something to do with the sugar and cream and delicious all-natural flavors?
Well, that's part of it.
Edie's slow churned ice cream. None of that fast churned bull. We're talking real slow. Just look at that. You could tell how slow that was churned. So how do they get that ice cream to churn so slow? We stalk and capture a baby sloth, famous for being the slowest and most docile of all God's creatures. We strap it to a Conan wheel and dose it with ketamine, a powerful horse tranquilizer. There it spends the next 3 days of its short life spinning that wheel and churning up a single pint of our finest ice cream. We're talking one sloth for every pint of ice cream.
That's a good idea, right? I did an ice cream video so we could eat ice cream.
That's a great idea.
Well, good.
We actually invited the sloth here to explain itself, but I think he's stuck in traffic or something. I don't know.
I said all those sloths had to die.
Yeah, I know. Here's an idea. Let's pour some molasses out in honor of all the dead sloths
That's a great idea.
everywhere. Let's do
It's
that.
amazing you just had molasses behind there.
I have a lot of stuff back here. Just hold on. It takes a little while. This is molasses. It takes a little while.
Okay.
Just... If only there was a way to describe how slowly this was moving.
Yeah. Can we move on?
I guess we have to, but
Okay.
I'll just, yeah.
Thus concluded, Around the Net.
Yeah. And now Blair Butler finds Bill Paxton in the wilds of New York Comic-Con to talk to comics.
The best part about New York Comic Con is you never know who you're going to run into on the show floor. For example, Mr. Bill Paxton. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, people know you from Big Love and maybe a little movie called Aliens.
Game over, man.
Right on. Well, you're actually making a big transition from film to graphic novels this year. You have a new graphic novel called 7 Holes for Air.
Yeah, I produced it. It was written by John McLaughlin, a great Hollywood screenwriter who's got Hitchcock coming out and has just written Kung Fu for me to direct for Legendary. This was a script that he wrote on spec that I fell in love with. I put him together with an artist who's a good friend of mine named Mick Reinman. 2.5 years later, here we are at New York Comic Con, and we've just released 7 Holes for Air digitally, so it's very exciting to be here.
Now, for people who aren't familiar with the comic, tell us a little bit about what it's about.
The protagonist is a guy named Bob. He's a working class guy. He's a construction welder in one life, but then in another part of the story of the graphic novel, he's in a hardcore spaghetti western. So he's got this modern story he's living out and the spaghetti western he's living out. And the two stories kind of intermingle and kind of leads to a great ending.
You released it digitally, I believe, here at New York Comic Con, right?
Today, it's just been released today.
So why did you decide to release it digitally before you did sort of like a print version?
Well, you know what? It's just because that's what's happening now. A lot of people don't live near comic book shops, so this way you can instantly, you see something, you read about it, you can go right online and you can download it on your, on your Kindle iBook. And we thought the New York Comic Con would be a perfect place to launch it. This is truly something for the fans, and I think they're going to love it.
Absolutely. So 7 Holes for Air may someday be a film. What other graphic novel projects are you thinking about doing now?
Mick Reinman, who did all the artwork for 7 Holes for Air, is currently breaking down the script of Kung Fu for me. And it's turning out so well that I think we'll probably put it out. But since that's been commissioned by Legendary, it would have to go through them. Right. But I think we'd put it out as a graphic novel as well.
As a tremendous fan of Aliens, do you mind taking us out?
Maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal. Why don't you put her in charge? These things are going to come in here, man. They're going to come in here. They're going to get us. Game over, man. I mean, it's game over.
Thanks, Blair. We'll have more updates from Comic-Con tomorrow. And now, let's talk about the happenings on Spaceship Earth. So, what did you guys do this weekend? Oh, I'm sure it was cool. But Felix frickin' Baumgartner jumped to Earth from outer space in a death-defying stunt sponsored by Red Bull. Your move, Mountain Dew. Here's some footage from yesterday's jump. Baumgartner went to the edge of space in a balloon that was 1/10 the thickness of a sandwich bag. The ascent took 2.5 hours, and his insane fall was just 10 minutes, but probably also set the record for world's longest near-death experience and world's longest streak in his pants. During the stunt, Felix was in constant contact with his 84-year-old mentor, Joe Kittinger, the previous holder of the highest altitude manned balloon flight. At one point, old Joe implored Felix to disregard his instruments and use the force. So I guess Joe was really trying to hold on to that record. Felix risked equipment failure, his blood boiling and evaporating, and I feel like his crew missed a huge opportunity to prank him by setting up the world's largest trampoline on the landing site. Not only was his leap a world record skydive, but he also broke the sound barrier on the way down. Holy crap. 2 questions. How does Red Bull follow up this stunt? And I wonder what happened to the capsule he jumped out of. Oh, well, I hope the capsule is a benevolent god. Speaking of great achievements, these days, a man's drinking liquor comes in a grand variety of flavors. There's Absolute Pear, Absolute Grapefruit, and Jägermeister, which tastes like absolute ass. But one maker of fine spirits believes no flavor drives a man wilder than the subtle tang of big old ripe melons, if you know what I'm saying. No, not melons. Melons. You know what I mean. Boobies. No, not blue-footed boobies. Boobies. Gazongas. No, not Gonzaga, so though I hear it's a really good school. I mean breasts. Introducing G Spirits, the very first and only line of liquors filtered over the naked breasts of real live glamour models and Playboy playmates. It's genius! Who could have come up with such an exciting and innovative idea? Was it Jeremiah P. Thomas, the bartending pioneer considered to be the father of American mixology? Could be, or maybe, just maybe, it was these two discerning young gentlemen. G Spirits, which to no one's surprise operates out of Germany, has a limited offering of rum, whiskey, and vodka, starting at $150 a bottle. Now, I know that sounds expensive, but if you're worried about quality, a quick peep at the very, very not safe for work G Spirits website will definitely quell those doubts. The description of vodka, for instance, reads, created out of the best harvests of French winter barley, distilled 6 times and diluted with purest spring water to the desired drinking strength. It was poured over the breasts of Evelyn Aubert. Plus, they guarantee high boob content with a certificate signed by the model herself. I feel better already. Oh, and if you're concerned that the whole idea sounds a bit unsanitary, don't worry. Alcohol is a potent antiseptic, so any bacteria or other gross things that may have been on the model's skin died inside the bottle a long time ago. So save those pennies and do your drinking straight from the teat. And finally, the next presidential debates are tomorrow night, so now's a good time for us to talk about the great American democratic experiment. I think we can sum it all up as, I guess we're doing okay? Thousands of our forefathers fought and died for our right to drink taxless tea and select a civilian government. And today, we fight over who's drawn the most Hitler mustaches on candidates' portraits and whether or not pizza is a vegetable. That devolution of discourse is probably the main reason the Commission on Presidential Debates is pulling the plug on letting the online community ask questions during tomorrow's town hall presidential debate. After over 20,000 people submitted questions via Twitter, email, YouTube, and the Google homepage, the commission said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. The co-chair of the commission stated, quote, we will be happy to provide a list of curated questions from the Google exercise to the moderator and her CNN team. They can do with it what they will, end quote. Which is basically the polite way of saying, F off, nerds. Nobody's going to ask the candidates to define their personal Gangnam style. Which I guess is probably a good thing. You can't ask the internet for help with something and not expect to get trolled. The last time YouTubers were allowed to ask questions, we got stoners, gun nuts, and a talking snowman. Our democracy's already a mess. We don't need someone going chat roulette commando while people are trying to pick which guy should have the key to the 5,000 nuclear warheads. And to settle the earlier question about pizza, it's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. Oh, there's a pizza tree here. Which one's ripe? And it's falling over. The pizza tree is falling over. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Pizza tree. Stick around. After the break, we'll tell you how torrenting can get you permanently banned from the internet. It's being reported that some internet providers will begin their controversial 6 Strikes anti-piracy program next month. Now, joining me now to help save you from interweb banishment, senior writer for CNET, Greg Sandoval. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, what is the 6 Strikes program?
Well, it's an attempt by the music and movie studios or music labels to get you to knock it off when it comes to downloading illegally movies and music. And so they've enlisted the help of your internet service provider to kind of gradually ratchet up pressure on people who continually or chronically download this stuff without paying for it.
Okay, well, I think maybe all of us have done a little bit of that, some more than others. At what point do the strikes become a problem for alleged offenders?
My music sources have told me ISPs have, there's a lot of flexibility, but they've agreed, the participating ISPs, which include AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, some of the biggest, 5 strikes, and they're supposed to start getting heavy-handed on you.
5 strikes and they take a heavy hand and they beat you up? Is that what you're saying is going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's going to be, they're going to have a lot of leeway about what they can do, but if you refuse to respond to their warnings, they can throttle your internet speed, right? Slow you down. They can restrict your access to the internet. They can just make essentially internet surfing, web surfing, a drag.
Okay, is there an appeal process to getting a strike? I mean, can I say, hello, that wasn't a strike, you struck me, something like that?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's more,
absolutely.
I'm sure it's more official than that.
There's going to be an independent monitor. You're going to be able to say, people, hey, it wasn't me, there was a mistake. And there's also going to be an independent technologist to kind of look and make sure that the way they're gathering information about alleged offenders is above board.
Now, media companies say they lose billions to piracy each year. I assume that this is what's supposed to help with that and change that.
Yeah, they hope so. They certainly hope so, because I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this 7 years covering this area, and when I started, there were 5 major music labels. There are now 3. I've got family in the film industry in Los Angeles, and they say nobody is shooting, right? It's not all because of piracy. The film industry has seen the decline of DVDs, but piracy has taken a toll. There's no doubt.
I mean, people who are good at pirating have ways to circumvent anything. So I'm sure the good pirators out there have ways to get around these 6 strikes.
And there's no way, everybody in the music and film industries know that. They know that hardcore techies will come up with fixes, and it's going to be tough to catch them. This program isn't designed to stop them. They want to keep this from going mainstream, from BitTorrent sites, from going to mom and dad in Sheboygan, right? They don't want middle America to be downloading movies and music.
Well, I know people in Sheboygan do a lot of illegal downloading. Isn't this kind of a slippery slope? Once they put this in, where do we go from here?
Well, they don't have a template. This has never really been done other than in France. In France, it's a law. 3 strikes, and they can start hitting you with big fines, like you're paying thousands of dollars. They're not doing this. This is all voluntary by the ISP, but they're hoping it scares people straight.
And not just France. There's other countries that have similar policies, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
But nothing on this scale, though.
Okay. When is it rumored that this 6 strikes will start? Because I need to go download a bunch of movies real quick.
Well, I quoted the RAA chief, Kerry Sherman, earlier this year. He said it was supposed to start in the first quarter. Now he's come back off of that. They've been trying to get the ISPs to do this for 4 years. Remember, they used to sue people and take you to court if they catch you. Then they stopped doing that, and they said, well, the ISPs are going to help us. Nothing has been done for 4 years. It looks like the ISPs are scared of alienating customers, right? There's nothing in it for them to win. They're doing this because the president and vice president have said, hey, let's try to help out American jobs. But really, they have come screaming and scratching. They don't want to do this.
Right. Well, it's a very interesting topic. What is your personal take on it? Do you think this is a good thing for us, or do you think this is a bad way for us to head?
I think it's going to be all in the execution. If it's clean and it's not very painful to people, if most people, like they say, if you talk to the entertainment companies, they say that their studies show that after 3 or 4 warnings, everybody stops downloading illegally. But if there's a lot of false positives and there's a lot of people being dragged in or accused wrongfully, you're going to see this thing blow up.
Okay, well, a very interesting topic, and thanks for talking with us. That's CNET's Greg Sandoval. Let's go over to Candace.
And now, some footwear, because we love you. We all have our obsessions. Music, fashion, sports, you name it. So here are some of the latest kicks to help show off your passions. First up, get ready to rock out. Vans has teamed up with rock gods Metallica to celebrate the 30th anniversary of their debut album, Kill 'Em All. This half-cab pro is made of black suede and has the band's name sewn into the tongue, as well as the album's title stitched into the interior of the sneak. The lyrics from their song Motor Breath have then been pressed into the sole of the shoe, perfect for thrashing around in the mosh pit. But But if you prefer your music to be more of the reggae variety, check out Adidas' tribute to Snoop Dogg. Sorry, Snoop Lion. As part of the Adidas Originals project, The Legacy of Craftsmanship, these black low-top Snooper stars have a white rubber toe cap and have Rastified wings sewn into the back to commemorate the rapper's turn to reggae. Unfortunately, the Snoop sneaks are not for sale, but the internets are buzzing that we might see these kicks in the near future. As for the Metallica kicks, you can snag them over at shop.vans.com for 85 bones. Next up, the classic boot company Doc Martens is getting an upgrade, courtesy of the high-end clothing company Pendleton. Just in time for the fall-winter season, Doc Martens are taking their vintage mid-sized boot and replacing the leather siding with Pendleton's Native American wool pattern. Available in both cherry red and black, the 50-year-old boot will still be finished with its air-cushioned sole as well as heat-sealed and stitched. And if you feel the need to accessorize, you can also snag the matching wool and leather satchel to finish off your ensemble. However, this quality craftsmanship won't come cheap. The bags will run you $300, with the boots coming in at a cool $185. And finally, even though the hockey season may be locked out, you can still show your love of the ice with Reebok's NHL collection. Using their Zig Light Run sneaker as the model, Reebok has paid tribute to every NHL team, from the national champions, Los Angeles Kings, to the Maple Leafs. Each team's logo has been pressed into the heel and has their colorways printed onto the shoe. The running shoes themselves are made of lightweight mesh, have a dual-density sole for improved cushion, and are finished with a low cut for increased flexibility. Hey, even if there is no season, that's no reason to not show your support for the puck. So pick up a pair of these NHL kicks over at Reebok.com for $100. Music? Check. Fashion? Check. Sports? Check. Yep, I think we've got something for every sneakerhead. Still ahead, Ed Burns from Alex Cross will be here live. Do not go anywhere.
Okay, please welcome Ed Burns, everybody.
What's happening?
Now, Ed, thanks for coming in and talking with us. In Alex Cross, you play a cop,
I did.
a serious cop. Your dad was a policeman.
My dad, yeah, he was a cop.
What was that like?
It's kind of all we knew, but he was a cop. My uncle was a cop. 5 of my first cousins were cops.
Okay.
So we grew up around a lot of cops. And he had his own sort of, scared straight program.
Yeah, I mean, my dad scared the hell out of me, and my dad, owned a travel agency.
Yeah.
Your dad's a cop.
This was a little bit more terrifying than that,
Yeah, okay.
I can assure you.
I'm sure.
Yeah, when he was little, he took us down, he was working in Harlem at the time, took us down to the precinct, put us down in the holding cell alone, but, there are real, bad guys in the cell next to us.
Right.
And basically his talk was like, you want to be a jerk, you want to do drugs, you want to F around.
Right.
This is your future, so get used to it.
I mean, that works.
Yeah. No, it definitely kept us away from certain things.
And you have kids now.
Yeah.
Have you? You don't really
We
have as
haven't
much
brought them
access
down
to
to the-
jail.
No.
Yeah. Okay, but would you try a similar?
Absolutely not. I mean, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was the 70s. You were allowed to get away with stuff like that.
Right. It was a little different. Now, in the film Alex Cross, you're working with Tyler Perry, who's had a similar career in indie films. Did you guys hit it off? Would you guys compete with each other?
We hit it off immediately.
Okay.
I mean, really, it was a good thing because we're supposed to play childhood best friends in the film.
Yep.
So that helped. And he really, he gave me some great advice. He'd rewatched Brothers McMullen, and we're having lunch.
Which was your film from in 1995, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what started Ed Burns.
Exactly. That's my first film.
Okay.
He had rewatched that, and he said, look, why didn't you ever make a sequel to this movie?
Yeah.
And I didn't have an answer. And he goes, all right, so McMullen, that was, one of your most successful films. Your most successful film was this movie called She's the One that came out a year after. And they both had to do with, like, Irish-American families. And he goes, so in 15 years, you never went back to the world that your 2 most successful films sort of were about. He goes, look at what I'm doing. You got to learn to super serve your niche.
Right.
Make another movie about an Irish-American family, and I guarantee you some people are going to show up.
Right.
So
is it going to be like Big Medea's The Brothers McMullen coming out soon? No. You're the MacGyver of movie making. You know, you shoot these things for like $50,000, you know, $2,000. You're no permits. You're in New York. I mean, what's the hardest part about being completely? You're just so uninhibited. It seems like.
Well, you know, it's like if you trying to be an indie filmmaker, have a personal voice. It's very, very difficult to get those movies made. You know, every time, even after success, and we're just trying to get 3 million, 4 million, and it just proved to be too difficult. So a couple of years ago, I went back to the McMullen model and said, all right, I know how to make micro-budget movies. Let's go back to that. And it's been completely liberating. I mean, we make our films now with a 3-man crew sometimes. We go into locations without permits. We'll shoot in a restaurant that's open for business. We'll go in and say, hey, look, we need a table in the corner. We're not going to shoot with any lights. We have a 3-man crew. It's 2 people just talking.
Right.
If you could just turn the radio down, that's all we need from you.
I mean, you're in the New York City streets with no permits. Are people kind of like, hey, what the hell are you doing here, man?
You know, I mean, the great thing about shooting in New York is everyone's pretty jaded. Everyone's pretty used to seeing crews. So we're mostly ignored. But periodically, like when we were shooting Newlyweds, I had a guy, I'm in a scene, the camera's across the street, and I'm talking on my phone in the scene, and he walks by me, and as he passes, I hear, Ed Burns, you're a So I turn around, not breaking character, I tell him to go. And then the funniest thing was, I just continue on with the scene. He just continued walking, went down into the subway. He just needed, you know, he needed me to hear that. He wasn't looking to fight.
There may be people in the production booth who are saying that about you right now, too.
Where are those guys?
No, that's hilarious. Now, you engage your Twitter followers like crazy. I started following you today. I'm sure it bumped things up tremendously.
It did. Thank you for that.
Tell us about winter, spring, summer, fall, and how you incorporated Twitter with that.
So on this film I did, Newlyweds, was you know, I've been on Twitter for a couple of years, but on that film I tweeted out when I was first coming up with the idea, like the basic premise of it, and I got a bunch of good feedback and some good story ideas. So that worked really well.
That's amazing. You got positive feedback on the internet.
Well, you know, Twitter is a game changer. No, I mean, it really, anytime you read one of those, you know, I'm sure you must get tons of nasty comments, like we all do. Just retweet that out to your Twitter followers and let them fight your fight for you.
Okay, good.
And they do.
That. Okay. You mean all 111 people who follow me? Yeah.
If they really care, then, you know.
Okay.
But anyhow, so this new project we have, it's called Winter, Spring, Summer, Fall, and we're going to shoot 12 7-minute films, a continuous story, but we're going to shoot the January chapter. We'll shoot it, edit it, and then post it in January, and do the same thing in February. But the thing that we want to do to take the Twitter relationship a little further is have them, as the thing is going, actually comment, make suggestions, and then I will try, depending on what they do, to take the story in that direction. We're also going to tweet out like, all right, we need a restaurant to shoot in, or do you have a micro brewery? We'll drink your beer. I'll wear your T-shirt. That kind of stuff.
And if an overwhelming amount of your followers like this scene a little bit better than the other scene, then obviously that makes it easier for you. Right. That's really neat and really interesting way to do it.
It's just a cool way to engage with your audience in a way that you couldn't, you know, 5 years ago.
Now, obviously, this is what you're doing now, and you've been kind of on the cutting edge of this whole thing. Where do you see it going even 5 years from now, making films and indie films?
Well, I mean, like we were saying earlier, I think if you look at what Radiohead did whenever that was 5 or 6 years ago, the pay what you want, and then you've seen bands like Nine Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins sort of cut out the middleman and start to distribute their own stuff. And then I think Louis C.K. proved that, I mean, it can be done.
If you have the base, the fan base that's there to support you.
Yeah, and I mean, I like what he did when he sort of said, all right, I'm only going to charge you $5.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the cup of a large coffee at Starbucks. So it's like, don't steal from me. Like, if you actually like my stuff, keep me in business and pay the $5. And it worked, you know,
really
and
cool.
that's awesome. So I think that's, some version of that is the future for indie filmmaking.
Well, good luck to you. It's inspiring to hear everything that you're doing. And let's say thanks to Ed Burns. Alex Cross comes out this Friday. And now get over to Candace.
Stay tuned. Matt Myra gets a lap dance from Samsung's 9 Series notebook. He'll give us the skinny when we come back.
Here are your top stories. First up, Microsoft is aiming to launch Xbox Music this month. In case you missed the announcement at E3 last June, this is a new music streaming service. It will replace Microsoft's current Zune marketplace and give users access to more than 30 million tracks worldwide. You can listen for free with advertisements or pay a $10 monthly subscription for unlimited ad-free streaming. And like iTunes, customers can purchase songs for 99 cents. If you already have an Xbox, you can get the service as early as tomorrow. But for everyone else, Xbox Music will be released as a built-in feature on Windows 8 PCs and mobile devices starting October 26th. Next up, the iPad mini rumor mill has been making a lot of noise recently, and the latest reports indicate a low starting price of only $250. Last night, an image of an inventory list leaked online that featured 16 different versions of the Mini. If it's legit, the basic model is listed as having Wi-Fi only and has 8 gigs of storage. But the most expensive model will have 64 gigs, 4G compatibility, and will retail for about $650. To refresh your memory, rumor is the iPad mini will feature a much smaller 7.85-inch screen and have a lower resolution than the third-generation iPad. Apparently, this is part of a plan to make it much cheaper and more competitive with other 7-inch tablets. Sources inside Apple say the company has begun mass production. This seems to verify rumors that the iPad mini will be unveiled at a press event, which could happen as early as October 23rd. And finally, you may be getting some cash back from Amazon. Anyone who purchased an ebook published by Hachette, HarperCollins, or Simon & Schuster from Amazon between April 2010 and May 2012 is getting a partial refund. This is the result of an investigation into price-fixing allegations, which is a big no-no. Pending court approval, this February, consumers will get anywhere from 32 cents to $1.32 per ebook. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that adds up. And Amazon isn't alone. Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, Sony, and Google are also required to issue similar refunds. I'm Sarah Underwood, and you've just been fed.
Hey! Hi, Matt Myra. How are you?
Good, Michael.
Now, what do you have for us today?
Well, after I finish counting all my Amazon refunds, we've got a laptop for you today. It's looking to be a MacBook Air for those of us who love Windows and don't know how to use Boot Camp. This is the Samsung Series 9 notebook. Here's some more info on it. Portability and power unite with Samsung's new 13-inch Series 9 notebook. This laptop features an LED display, Intel Core i5 processor, and 4 gigs of RAM. All of that packed into a portable that's only a ½ inch thick. This new notebook can be yours starting at $1,300. I like that the RAM we use in that graphic is from like a 486. That was for 3 guys in the back.
I don't know what that means.
Somebody at home enjoyed that. Here it is, the Samsung Series 9. It's got a similar unibody aluminum construction to the MacBook Air. The footprint of this laptop is only 12.3 inches by 8.6 inches. Now what that means is it's actually smaller than the 13-inch MacBook Air.
Wow.
Yeah, and it only weighs 2.6 pounds. And it's only a ½ inch thick, people.
Wow.
Yes, I know. One thing I'm a fan of is they've gotten rid of the hard edge that used to come out on the old Series 7 that used to feel like you would give yourself a nasty paper cut.
Slice your hand on that.
From aluminum. That would be very painful. It really does noticeably feel much more sturdy with this new unibody construction. So I say good job on that, Samsung.
This is the 13-inch version of the Series 9. It's also available in a 15-inch version. What's the screen like?
I got to tell you, this screen is gorgeous.
It is nice.
Yeah, there we go. B-roll's going to help you there.
Yeah.
It's 1600 by 900. That's the resolution of this. It's a matte finish, which a lot of folks prefer over the glossy finish. I personally don't, but that's just me.
Okay.
But it does really have good color saturation for a matte finish. Along with the color, you have incredibly bright brightness. It's LED backlit, so that's going to be super great for brightness. The viewing angles on here, also fantastic.
Well, that's always...
You can see it when I do that. You can see it when I do that.
I've seen it the whole time.
Right? You're seeing it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. You can see it. It's one of the best screens I've ever seen on an Ultrabook, so bravo, Samsung.
The screen is good, but a lot of the Ultrabooks have crappy keyboards and trackpads.
Yeah.
How is this one?
Trackpad's crappy. I'm sorry. listen, the trackpad, it feels good, right?
It feels good.
You hit it, you know it clicks. It's fairly responsive, had a nice tactile feedback, except towards the top of the thing, gets a little mushy up there. But here's the deal. You're clicking on something, all of a sudden your computer decides, hey, you wanted to right-click, when in reality you didn't want to do that. Your computer is a jerk. Then it starts dragging icons all over the place, highlighting text I didn't want to highlight. Yeah. It might be a software issue, but until then, it's kind of a bummer to deal with. The keyboard, however, very responsive keyboard. Feels very nice. Nice change of face for a lot of Ultrabooks. They have the mushy thing that you don't really care for. It's as good as the MacBook Air's keyboard. The keys are also backlit nicely with a subtle blue light.
That is nice. A nice little is nice. I don't know why I like that so much, but I
agree.
do like that.
I don't know if that's worth the $100 more in the MacBook Air, but it's something to think about.
I'm just saying I like backlit keyboards.
That's okay.
Let's talk about ports. Okay, because I love talking about ports, and I have a bunch. If I have a bunch of things that I want to plug in, good ports, bad ports.
Well, listen, if you have a bunch of things, you're going to have to select your favorite two, because there's 2 USB ports on this. One USB 2.0. On the other side, you have USB 3.0. There's also an SD card slot. And get those dongles ready, kids. If you don't know what a dongle is, like I'm assuming, Michael, do you know what a dongle is?
I don't know what any of this is.
Well, Michael, hang on. Go back to that shot of Michael for a second. You're on Deep Space Nine right now. That's what that looks like.
Whoa! I'll have to Wikipedia Deep Space Nine later.
Anyway, the dongle is an adapter, essentially, so you can use a full-size Ethernet or VGA. So you're going to have to deal with that. It's not as extensive as most of the things we've seen out there, and you are going to have to worry about losing the dongle. Sounds like a weird phrase. That's the title of my first memoir, Losing the Dongle. The Matt Myra story.
Yeah, I'll let you take that one. Now, if I'm going to spend $100 more than a MacBook Air, it needs to be perform pretty well. Is it fast?
It actually is. It's pretty good in that department. It's a 3rd generation Intel i5. You can also get an i7 in here. 4 gigs of RAM. It also comes with Windows Home Edition Premium, right? But you can upgrade to Professional for a measly $100 more. Thanks, Windows. If you're looking to handle games, it can do that too. It's not going to be a powerhouse like a gaming computer, but it's got Intel's integrated 4000 graphics. So it's certainly serviceable in that department. We played Borderlands 2 on here. Take a look at that. Yeah, it's jumping around a bit, but not too much. I didn't want to throw it out the window. So that's a good thing. It can handle games. It's not going to be your gaming PC, but it'll handle it.
Don't throw it out the window.
I won't.
You can kill somebody. You can take the ultralight, ultra-portable 13-inch Samsung Series 9 home for about $1,300. Yeah. How are we rating it?
I have to say, we're giving it a 4 out of 5 once that comes back on.
Okay.
All right, it might be a 3 out of 5. Hang on.
Yeah, it's not turning on. So
Wake up! Anyway, listen, this is an excellent computer, great build quality. Everything is good on this. I like the design. It's smaller than a 13-inch MacBook Air. The screen is one of the best screens I have seen when it wakes up. What's holding it back from a 5 out of 5, though, trackpad, and it's $100 more than a MacBook Air.
Yeah.
A more expensive PC than an Apple product? I've seen everything.
Thanks to Matt Myra. That's it for today's Gadget Run. Now let's head down Candace way.
Oh, I like that. Still ahead, life just got a lot less cool. It is the epicest fail of the year when we come back. Everybody loves a good meme, and now you can create your very own with Meme Generator. This Mac app compiles pretty much every picture meme on the internet onto your computer for you to join in on the fun. Browse popular memes like Annoyed Picard, Business Cat, and College Freshman. The app will have the latest memes and is updated frequently. You can start a new one by importing your own photos straight into Meme Generator. Once you're satisfied with your creation, you can print it straight from the app to post next to your desk, or upload the picture directly to Reddit, Facebook, or Twitter. Meme Generator is also available for iOS, and you can sync all of your memes via iCloud. Do Success Kid proud with Meme Generator, available for free on the Mac App Store. I love that the only thing that it shows in there is Matt Myra with 4 out of 5. Just 4 out of 5. Oh, it's funny. It's time for today's epic fail.
Look.
Yeah.
We understand that artists... I haven't been here in a while. I thought we were going to go watch
Yeah.
it, but we're not. Look, we
Not yet.
understand that artists have bills to pay and cars to buy. We get it. But there are good ways to make money, and there are bad ways to make
Tell
money.
me about it. For instance, selling the rights of your song Drop It Like It's Hot to a company that sells pre-cooked, reheatable meat pies and then performing that ad song? Bad way.
Bad way.
Hungry kids in the crib, ma. Pocket like it's hard, pocket like it's hard, pocket like it's hard. So don't change the diesel, turn it up a little. Got some cheesy drizzle, dripping on my shizzle. Hungry kids in the crib, ma. Pocket like it's hard, pocket like it's hard, pocket like it's hard.
I mean,
Looks like Snoop needs money. Or Hot Pockets.
this is everything that's wrong with everything.
No, no, no. Oh, hey, you know what's a nice thing?
What?
The Twitter wall.
I have never done the Twitter wall. I'm very excited to do the Twitter wall.
Zero
sorry.
P1. Now that Fearless Felix has done it, would Candace Bailey ever consider adding space or skydiving to her bucket list?
I mean, didn't you climb that wall?
I did. I climbed the wall, but that's not like space or skydiving.
Yeah.
I would never space dive, but I've been actually asking to skydive for the show for a long time now, and they haven't let me. So.
Expensive.
Oh, it's
Very
expensive.
expensive.
It's expensive. We don't have money. That's why.
I would love to go skydiving with Candace because you already make my heart free fall. I like this one. Are you taking the gun out? Mayhem Dreams. I miss the old days when the highest level of piracy was making a mixtape with your huge boombox. I love mixtape.
I love mixtapes.
Pause button. Pause button. That was my whole thing.
That's what you did?
That's
Pause button?
I did it, and it was also a turntable in there, I think.
You fancy. You fancy schmancy.
I have great mixtapes.
For the 80s, 90s?
All those decades.
I would just take them off the radio.
Yeah, you can play.
Anyways,
Anyways.
thanks to Edward.
First day
Greg
back,
Sandoval,
okay?
Matt Lyra, Sarah Underwood, and Blair Butler. This